In my mind, I go to a place in nature, a place of greenery and peace. In my thoughts, I emerge the wind, and I can hear the leaves of the tree moving in the breeze. The wind whispers secrets in my ear, and I understand. I can feel the sunshine on my face, softly warming my heart and soul. The birds are chirping in the background and singing songs of happiness and joy. I emerge the feeling of belonging to the planet, to nature, to the animals and all living beings. I feel safe in being forever connected to this global family of all living beings, and being connected to the world around me. I will remember this moment if I ever lose hope for our common future of harmony for all.
All right. A very good evening. Greeting of love and peace from all of us at the Meditation Cafe. It's wonderful to be back with all of you this evening. Before I pursue further, just a reminder that this meeting is being recorded, so please be discreet in whatever that you share in the chat box. But however, as usual, you will all be muted for the entire session, but we would love to hear from you for your questions regarding the session that you want to post it to our speaker. Please use the chat chat box, and we will address as much as possible at the end of the talk. And then we will post that question to the speaker, and he would respond to it with the time given. So if that is all right, and there is no translation, this is the whole session is in English, so it's being recorded, and you can find it later also in the YouTube. So that's the housekeeping, and then we are once again back with you for the third session, or the final series of the climate change topic that we've been having for the past 2 months. Consequently, we have that. And then the third part of this session comes with the theme, the karma of the past needs a spiritual solution. So what we are doing today is we are going to learn to approach this aspect of climate change in the lens of spirituality, looking into how ways of transformation through self-awareness, meditation, and how it's going to bring a collective impact to humanity. And just to recap for those who are new, just joining for this session, or even those who have joined us from the first session, just to recap, the first session covered topics of climate change in general and what is the impact of it in terms of especially touching into the negative consequences of the climate change, what will happen in the future if we don't do anything about it today itself. So that was covered in the first session. And then the second session covered on what are the ways we can actually contribute in a positive manner as an individual. So that is covered by the speaker, the tips, and what are the solutions that we can find. However, going further and beyond that, today, we are going to look into, again, what is the even more better solution? Is there an even more better solution to this? And interesting and intriguing topic today is using spirituality and bringing science and spirituality together. So how can we all be accountable, responsible, and also empower each other in the process to reduce, because climate change is happening, and we just experienced recently what is happening in Dubai. The whole world is surprised to what is going on with Dubai's flood for the first time in many years like that. So is that part of the impact? So there is many impacts are happening on daily basis. So what can we all do to reduce that and for a better world, end of the day, of course. So for that, once again, we are very, very honored to have our distinguished speaker today joining us, Mr. Golo, who is the founder of the Solar Department, and he is the catalyst for the various research and development regarding renewable energies. All right, all his effort is tremendous and incredible in India, bringing his knowledge all the way from Germany and then now residing in India to bring so much of positive change. And he collaborates internationally with a lot of other researchers as well. And that is where he coordinates the mega project of India One, which is an innovative solar thermal plant. And apart from that, not only a very empathetic and also inspiring scientist, but Mr. Golo is also an experienced meditation teacher who have traveled more than 75 countries. He has shared his meditation wisdom. So it's going to be so interesting. And it's always complementing to bring science and spirituality together. So today, we are honored to have you, and we are going to hear from him what are the ways we can actually bring solutions to these climate change issues that we are having. So without further ado, I would like to pass this session to Mr. Golo, and then we will come back for our moderation session. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Bhamini, for the introduction, and thanks very much for the team of the Meditation Cafe to host this session. And this is the third session on climate change. And this time we'll talk a little bit about the karma and what role the karma plays of the past in the climate change of the present. And it's a very interesting topic because it goes to one of the core beliefs actually in spirituality. And in order to share the informations also of the previous sessions for those who are joining first time, I will give a just very brief overview with a couple of slides, what is happening in terms of climate change around the world. And you already mentioned about the flooding in Dubai, which was pretty serious. And there are a couple of reports on that, and they all attribute it. Well, in social media, some people say it was cloud seeding, but in reality, it was a warmed up ocean in front of the Dubai by 2 degrees. The water temperature has risen, and 1 degree means about 5 to 7% more water vapor in the atmosphere. So when you have more energy in the atmosphere and you have more water vapor in the atmosphere, and you have a storm system, then voila, you're getting these kind of weather events, flash flooding, which we have seen in Dubai. And this is something which has also been predicted by science already many, many years ago, that weather extremes will be rising. So I will share my screen, and I hope I can do that relatively fast. Share. And now let me have a look. This is this one. Open. All right. And voila. Can you see it? Is it all right? Yeah, should be okay. Good. So I start so give you a bit of an update on the previous sessions which I gave. And what we can see is that climate change is happening already. And is happening because we are sort of emitting since 150 years carbon emissions and other gases. Also, it's not only CO2, but it's also methane and other gases, including fine dust and so many other things into our atmosphere. And our atmosphere is reacting to that change in climate. And it's the so-called greenhouse gas effect. The heat which comes from the sun is being trapped and is getting hotter and warmer. And so some of the effects are more and worse storms. What we have seen in Dubai, more and worse forest fires, which we already have seen in Canada, in Siberia, and also in Europe in many places and areas, and also in Africa. Also India, everywhere there are forest fires because of drought. We have more animal extinction, which is also happening. And there's a significant effect on our health. More heat cramps, exhaustion, danger of heat stroke, something called the wet bulb temperature, when the body cannot cool down anymore. And because of climate change, we will reach this wet bulb temperature in some areas of the world. And we have also more and worse droughts, which is happening also in so many areas of the world. Rising seawater levels, which is already made a couple of islands in the Pacific uninhabitable because the seawater was sort of encroaching into the sweetwater, and the sweetwater wells became salty and people had to evacuate these islands. And this also costs a huge economic loss, which by now is already outmatching the cost it would cost to switch to 100% renewable. So it would be already cheaper actually to avoid all this than to face it. That's quite interesting. And end of the day, the temperature also rising, which is a big issue to all. So we have lots of problems coming with this. We have Corona was one of the diseases, which is also partly climate change related, because more and more animals are leaving their habitat and mixing with humans. And that's because we're doing very high rate of deforestation. We also have climate change and we have recession, global recession. And after Corona, the global trade has not really fully recovered. And all over the world now, we can already feel the effect of global recession, shortage of certain products, but also cost of living crisis is going up. This is also one of the side effects of climate change. You can see there's a third tsunami, But the fourth tsunami, which is coming, is the collapse of our biodiversity, means extinction of animals, of insects, and so on. And I just heard from some friends who came for a conference some days ago. They told me in Delhi, in New Delhi, 4 years ago, all the sparrows have disappeared. You know, they had millions of sparrows, and now they only have crows and pigeons. And there were millions of sparrows, and they simply disappeared, and they don't know exactly why. Might be LED light, might be G4 mobile network, might be rise in temperature, might be the pollution, but the sparrows have disappeared. And the people are not aware. On the left side, you see this little town, and the mama says, be sure that you wash your hands and all will be well. So people are not aware actually what is happening and what is in the pipeline, which is actually quite a dramatic situation, you know, that people don't know what is going to happen in the next years. And we have to stay optimistic despite all this scenario which is happening in front of our eyes. And I will elaborate a little bit more. My brother is a doctor, and he says the first thing is he cheers up the patient and makes him happy. And then the chances for healing are much, much better. So we have to stay, and we should stay optimistic in this scenario. And because of all these issues, Brahma Kumaris has created an environmental initiative. And you can look up www.echo.brahmakumaris.org, and you will find a lot of informations there, and what we are doing, what we're propagating, and there are a lot of resources and informations. And we propagate the 5 R's: rethink before you buy or before you do anything. What is my impact on the environment? Reuse as much as possible. Recycle, reduce your consumption per se. Little bit less heating, little bit less water, little bit driving around, little bit less flying, everything a little bit less, and that will already have some impact. Then also recycle as much as possible, which in the West, for example, we have the Green Point, and we're recycling all the waste since the last 30 years. So recycle more, and then refuse to follow all the trends, what has been told to you, what you have to do. And so we propagate at this climate conference the 5 R's, and we're not only going to the UNFCCC, United Nations for Climate Change Conference. We're also going to UNEP, United Nations Environment Program, Convention on Biological Diversity, which was the last one in Montreal. There is a United Nations conference on water, on sweet water. There's a conference on ocean, acidification of oceans, but also plastic pollution of oceans, a big problem. There's a United Nations conference on food systems, and there's also the convention on to combat desertification, which is also a big problem. So all these climate conferences, Brahma Kumaris is going with a team. We are present there, and we're trying to inspire people to go green, to change their lifestyle, and most important, to change their mindset, because our actions are based what we think, on our desires, on our thought process. So when we change our thought and our mindset, then we change our lifestyle, and that's what is required. We are also very active with the interfaith congregation. And interestingly, this time at the UN Climate Conference, for the first time, there was an interfaith pavilion. And you can see here Sister Genti, she's part of our team. She's being interviewed, and we had a couple of programs there. And slowly, our political leaders, they realized that they have to talk and address also spiritual leaders and also religious leaders and also the faith congregations, because 70%, 80% of the human population, they do follow a spiritual tradition, and they are listening to their spiritual tradition and to their leaders. So now slowly UN tries to integrate religion and spirituality into the process, into the UN process, and in order to accelerate the decision-making process and apply pressure on the decision makers to finally do what is really required and agree to what is really required. And Brahma Kumaris is very actively engaged since many, many years in this interfaith dialogue. We also, for the first time, did this time a studio, and where we invited scientists and a spiritual faith leader also, and had a very meaningful conversation. On the bottom, you can see the YouTube link, and there you will find 14 sessions of 45 minutes, very good discussion with scientists, what is going on, what is happening, and also what can we do. Brahma Kumaris is also very active in the field of climate protection. We are since 25 years engaged in renewable energies. And we are here, you can see a picture of India One solar power station. This is our 1 megawatt solar power plant, which has thermal storage, and we can run for 24 hours. This was a research project sponsored by the German and the Indian government. And it's a very unique plant, very unique thermal plant, because it offers thermal storage. And you might know that the big problem in transition to clean energy is how to store the energy. The sun shines in daytime, but we need the power quite often in nighttime. Same with the wind. Sometimes the wind blows when it wants, and sometimes it doesn't blow. So how to store the energy and make it available when it is needed. This is a lot of research going on in that area. Yeah, we also have here a lot of photovoltaic installation. Brahma Kumaris started more than 25 years ago to do R&D, and we are running now more than 500 photovoltaic battery systems all over India. Brahma Kumaris has a couple of thousand meditation centers in India, 1,000 meditation centers abroad. And many of these centers have installed a solar photovoltaic system or have installed solar hot water system. And we are now installing another 150 kilowatt. We are building a new solar steam cooking system, which is based on 150 kilowatt photovoltaic and induction cooking. So this is also one of the projects we're doing right now. Here you can see another very interesting project. This is our biogas plant, which has been inaugurated recently and is operational now. And in this, okay, I can see that you cannot see the biogas plant. Okay. Okay, you can see now. I don't know, so some slides may not show up, or maybe yeah, showing, good. So here you can see the biogas plant. So what we do is we collect all the waste, segregate it, and send the organic waste into the biogas and produce methane gas. And the methane gas we are using in our generator to produce electricity. A very good project, and India has lots of waste problems and causing a lot of pollution in India. And this is one example how to manage with the biogas plant waste segregation, and the plastic and the paper is collected and the metal and the glass separate and is being sold off as scrap. So a very landmark project, very future oriented, and already we had a lot of visitors to see that. We have also a Kalptaru tree plantation program, and we planted 2 million trees already in India and abroad. Also, there is an app which you can download, and you can plant the tree and then sort of can take a photo of the tree and upload the same. Then also we have sustainable yogic farming, which is a very interesting project. We teach farmers in India to meditate with the seeds and meditate with the land and with the earth. And then we ask them to do some farming on a plot without meditation and some farming on next plot without meditation. And the results are very interesting. Here you can see the result with chemical treated carrots and yogic farming carrots and organic carrots. And if you look, you see that the yogic carrots are the biggest and the most tasty and have also the highest nutritional value. And we don't need fertilizer or pesticides in this yogic farming. And here you also see an example with wheat. Without meditation, it's rather small. With meditation, it's rather big. Project is going on since 5, 6, 7 years. We did it with a couple of thousand farmers, and we've written also some papers which are published in an agriculture magazine. And this is a very successful project. And please look at the webpage at the bottom, www.yogiketi.org. You will find more information. And we work with the Indian government now, and we are selecting 70 farms to go on a large scale into this technology, into this yogic farming. Yeah. So This just to give a recap, what we did, what I spoke about in the last sessions. Climate change is happening already. The outlook is actually quite dramatic. And a lot of people are already suffering from climate change. A lot of people are being displaced by climate change already. We have a lot of migrants already, especially from Africa. This is a real big problem. And apparently the numbers in future of migration will increase because certain areas of the world will become too hot or nothing will grow any longer there. So climate change is very serious. It is affecting all of us, and it is accelerating. This is at the moment the status. And the UN just recently said that we maximum have 2 years in order to have a chance to survive. The problems which are on the pipeline not mentioned at all about this. So very tricky situation, very little time. And it is we're really at the brink of that the system might flip into a whole different scenario, and the earth becomes suddenly much, much warmer, and we will literally destroy the foundation of life on the planet. On the other side, you have seen there's a lot of things we can do. We should definitely stay positive and optimistic. And we can do a lot of things in terms of lifestyle change, in terms of renewable energies. We have seen yogic farming, tree plantation campaign, but also the 5 R's, refuse, reduce, and so on. And you have seen that we do a lot of programs and projects in the UN, but also outside of the UN in terms of environment. And we're trying to inspire people for a lifestyle change and to be prepared. So, and now coming to the topic of our whole session today about karma, and how is the karma of the past is being connected to climate change, and what is the spiritual solution for that? And then, of course, the first big question comes to our mind: what is actually karma? And that is a very interesting question. And I downloaded a little film. Now let me see if that works. Oh, no, it doesn't work. Click. No, it doesn't work. No, now actually these balls, they should move, but it seems in sharing, this is not working. This is called Newton's cradle. And if you move one ball, all the other balls, they start moving, so if the one ball hits the other balls, then this is all started to move, and the energy is transferred through all the balls to the other side of that apparatus. And this is called the law of action and reaction. Basically, that is karma. And karma is a very old word which we hear so often nowadays. Even in Christianity, the word of karma is being used. And there's an interesting analogy in Christianity. It is called what I sow, that I will reap. Basically, this is also referring to the law of karma, which means whenever I act, there is a reaction. And interestingly, in Hinduism, this is apparently the place where the word karma originates. It comes from the original from Sanskrit. Is a very old word, a very old concept, more than 2,000 years old, probably about 3,000 years old concept. And this is actually the concept of action or work or deed and its effect or consequences. So whatever I do, whatever I say, even what I think, has consequences, has an effect. And good intent and good deeds and good thoughts contribute to good karma. And in India, everybody believes in the concept of reincarnation. So everybody believes if you have a good karma, you take a good rebirth, and you will have a rich family or healthy body or healthy situation. Everything will be good. So good karma means happy rebirth, while a bad intent, bad deeds, bad actions contribute to bad karma and to a bad rebirth. So if somebody in India is born into a very rich family or into a high caste, then everybody says, oh, this guy must have had a very good karma. And if somebody is born into the lowest caste, untouchables, for example, then they say, okay, chalega, it is my karma that I'm born in this caste, and everybody sort of accepts it. And in this picture, you see the lady, she's giving to the man some gift in the need of help, in the need of when the person needs it. And then through another person, that lady gets a gift in return. This is a sort of little bit giving the idea of karma and how karma actually works, and how people in India especially believe how karma is working. Basically, it's the law of action and reaction. Quite interesting concept. And basically, even people who are not believing in karma philosophy, they understand that their actions have an impact into their life. And if they do good, then people are, if you smile and you're friendly to people, people are usually also friendly to you. And if you're angry and in a bad mood, people after some time also get into a bad mood and get angry. Then a second big area where the word of karma is being used is in Buddhism. And I forgot to mention here, is the most important point in Hinduism. So you have the bad karma as per Hinduistic belief, and you usually have to suffer. If you have bad karma, you have to suffer under that bad karma, and you have to experience it in order to transform it. However, in Hinduism, you have also the concept or the idea that a devotion to God can destroy the bad karma, which makes it very, very special. If you are a true believer and you pray to God, you perform rituals, or you're devoted to Him in any way, this will help you to resolve bad karma. This is the belief system in Hinduism. Another big area where the word of karma is being used is in Buddhism. And in Buddhism, it's all about intention through body, speech, and intellect. It's very, very similar in Buddhism. Karma is to be experienced, bad karma is to be experienced in hell. You take birth in an animal and suffer extra, or you are maltreated by ghosts. So in Buddhism also karma is very clear. And Buddha has said, what you think, you become. What you feel, you attract. And what you imagine, you create. So this is also connected to the law of karma. Interestingly, in Buddhism, there is no way out of bad karma. You have to suffer and you have to experience 100% the result of your previous actions. You cannot escape the wheel of life. If you have bad karma, you have to pass through. And there's no salvation through God. Because in Buddhism, there is the belief that God doesn't exist. So there's no salvation possible in Buddhism. Whatever you do, you have to live with the consequences forever. That is a quite interesting difference to the idea of Hinduism, the concept of karma in Hinduism. Now, if we look into our topic is climate change and karma. And you see, on one side, we have the beautiful green world, which might be already in some areas in the past. And on the other side, we have already the earth, which is changing into desert. And we have all these chimneys with the smoke and the industry and the power station. And the beautiful green grass has been changed into dried up soil. And the relation between climate change and karma is not so obvious. But if you think a little bit, you actually come very, very straightforward to the concept. And it's very easily understood that the effects of humans on the environment started a long time ago. We not have power plants or deforestation going on right now. We already did that long time ago. And it was usually driven by greed, by ego, by lack of awareness, and by lust for power. So this was the driver for these activities, which then affected actually our climate long time ago. And to give you an idea about these activities which have started a long time ago, I just made a list which might be not complete, but which probably summarizes a bit in a nutshell. What has happened in the last 2,500 years? Our actions, which caused climate change ultimately. For example, we started deforestation. I mean, not started 150 years or 500 years ago. No, a very early example of deforestation is you will find in the Roman Empire, where they cut all their forests in order to build their ships. And they built their ships in order to conquer other countries, to cut more forest, to build more ships and dominate more countries, and then to transport all the goods from here to there. So that's why Italy got deforested already 2,000 years ago, why Greece is deforested to a great extent, and many other areas got deforested because people needed the wood basically to build ships. And so deforestation, overuse of resources started already a long time ago in human history. And then also we started monocultures that also started long time ago. And we know that monocultures is very bad for the cycle, the natural cycle of nature, and is disrupting natural cycles of nature and causing also heightened emissions of CO2 and indirectly causing climate change. Monocultures, agriculture sector right now is one of the biggest driver of CO2 emissions and one of the biggest drivers of climate change. So oil, gas, and coal is the biggest driver. Power generation is the biggest driver. The second is the agriculture sector. So monocultures and extensive farming started also long time ago. Then exploitation of natural resources. I'm just saying mining, digging, pumping the oil out of, taking the gas out, and so on and so on. And we're doing too much of that, you know. We're really over exploiting the resources of nature, and many areas now resources are becoming tight, not available anymore of many materials. Then also there is an overconsumption. Always humans have overconsumed, but especially the elite, many times, also thousands of years ago, they became corrupt and they had inner emptiness and tried to compensate through overconsumption. Then we create a lot of waste in many industrial processes, but a lot of plastic waste, a lot of dirt, a lot of rubbish, paper, plastic, you name it, and the waste dumps all over the world are growing, and this is a huge problem. And unfortunately, we have technology, and we use this technology often for the good purpose, but in many cases also for dirty technologies. Combustion engines, not very clean. Many of our industrial processes, not very clean. Our power generation, not very clean. Our transport sector, not very clean, and so on and so on. Old fossil fuel-based technologies with low efficiency and a high rate of emissions, and thus CO2 emissions, and causing climate change. Also, one reason I would like to mention is the meat consumption. Meat consumption is one of the big culprits also, and is one of the drivers of methane gas and deforestation, and is a very inefficient way to feed the world population. And there is a study from a professor in Oxford, has been published about 3 years ago, I said, and he said we have another 10 years and the humanity all has to become vegan, or we have no chance at all to deal with climate change. One of the reasons sometimes overlooked is wars and conflicts. And actually, there was a study about the war in Ukraine. This is one of the major destroyers of the environment also in Ukraine right now. Huge areas, lands are burnt down, destroyed, bombed up, and it's a excessive consumption also of diesel fuels, and so on and so on. So wars and conflicts are a big driver also of CO2 emissions and climate change. So these are the actions which we have which have happened already since 2,500 years, and which caused ultimately then in climate change. There's a very interesting book by an Indian guy, Amitav Ghosh, and it's called The Nutmeg's Curse. And he said he gave one nice example about climate change. He says 500 years ago, the Dutch became so greedy. They had a small colony, a small outpost in the Java Sea in Indonesia. And there was on this island, they produced the nutmeg. And the nutmeg became such a costly spice that they sort of became greedy. And the locals, which had about 15,000 nutmeg trees, they were happy. They gave 5%, 10% to the Dutch, and the rest they gave to the others because everybody wanted, and everybody had happy living. And then in the year 1500, one Dutch guy had the idea to take over the island, massacre all the local aboriginals, and make nutmeg monoculture. And then they executed that plan and became very rich. The Dutch became very rich. They had the monopole for nutmegs for 250 years, and became super rich with the spice trade, and killed all the aboriginals, and set up monocultures, which contributed in a large way also to CO2 emissions and the beginning of climate change. So it was also colonization, which was a main driver. And that brings us back to the greed, which has been a main driver of this climate change. So we can see that this climate change has been happening since a long time. And we are, as per spiritual belief, we are travelers over time, and we were part of that. Our actions were part of that. In my life, I'm a carpenter, so I have to admit I have cut some trees, some old trees, but I cut some trees, and I did some actions which are not nice for the environment, and I'm aware about that. I did some good stuff, but also some bad stuff. So the big question is, if we did some bad stuff in the past, how is that connected to us? How spirituality plays actually a role in that? And how do we know that we are karmically, that we are under the influence of karma? And here I would like to share some latest findings with you. This is very interesting. And basically what you see here, that karma is recorded in our aura, or you can say also in our electromagnetic field. And on the right side bottom, behind me, the white picture, you can see a commercially available printout from a aura photograph, aura camera. It's a bit costly, but it photographs your aura and basically tells you how strong is your aura, how much is the shine, are there any defects in the aura, any dark spots, etc., etc. On the left side, the colorful picture you will see with a Calerian photography done aura in different colors of the same people, and they represent the mood of the person. For example, red aura means a bit aggression, violet means spiritual enlightenment, yellow means insecure, green means relaxed, and so on and so on. So different auras, different emotional states. And in the aura, the information is being stored of the karma. And interestingly, if you take rebirth, you take your aura or your energy field, or you can say your electromagnetic field, you take with you. This is the interesting part. So whatever you have done, it is recorded in your electromagnetic field or in your aura, in your subtle energy field. And when you take a rebirth, it goes with you. And it determines if you're healthy, if you're happy, if you have certain trigger points, this or that. And interestingly, our aura, and that comes to the upper picture, is all the time connected to other frequencies and energy fields in the world. Basically, our aura is communicating all the time to other energy fields. And you might have heard that sentence. I will later come back. Everything is connected to everything. And this is all things which are commercially available now. You can measure the aura, you can measure the color, the intention. You can see if there's a defect in the aura, if the aura is strong, etc., etc. So all your actions of the past, they are there. And means also the actions collectively of us as a humanity. They're collectively all stored in our auras, and the energy field is all the time with us. Whatever we did in the past, everything is recorded, everything is energetically recorded and is with us and influencing the present. And I would like here to introduce our Daddy Junkie. She was a real beautiful yogi sister, 103 years old. She was the head of the Brahma Kumaris, an inspiration, a beacon of light and a source of inspiration. And I had the great luck to be often with Daddy and sort of interact with her and learn, observe, and see her. And Daddy once gave a very interesting explanation. What are the signs in your action about karma? And they're quite interesting, these signs. And so let us have a look. Daddy said there are 3 signs. And I never forget that. She said that about 30 years ago, and I never forget that. The first sign is you want something and it doesn't happen. For example, you want to become a famous opera singer. You know, when I was young, I was always, I was trying to sing like an opera. And then my mom came and she said, oh my God, boy, shut up. So at a young age, my aspiration to become a famous singer was seriously grounded and crashed by my mom. And I never took up. My career never took up, and my wish to become famous and a famous singer never happened. So that's a sign of karma. You want something and it does not happen. You want to become rich, your bank account is empty. You want to have a master's degree, you never get it. You want to become rich, famous, and happy and marry the most beautiful girl in the world, it's not happening. Nothing is happening. It's a sign of karma. You want something, it's not happening. The second sign of karma is suddenly something happens to you. You know, you have an accident. Suddenly you drive, you're very careful. Suddenly, boom, somebody drives from the side. You even didn't see it coming. You had no chance to react. And you think, oh my God, why this happens to me? Because it was your karma. This event was energetically stored in your energy field, and it had to happen. And the third is you are suffering from interaction with relatives or friends, with your mother, your parents, your brothers, sisters, spouses, husband, children, uncles, family, you name it. You clash, you have problems, you have discussions, you freak out, or you have problems with friends or at work with your boss. You are very good and they don't believe you, and everybody says you're such a nutcase. So you are suffering because people don't see your true values. So these are the 3 reasons. And if you ask yourself and really think a little bit, what is going on in my life, I'm sure you come to the point, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. And you think, all 3 points, I want something, it doesn't happen. For example, I want to become spiritually perfect. So I'm going since 30 years in the meditation room as I want to become perfect. I want to become perfect. But it takes time because my karma does not allow to happen that suddenly. So if you think, ask yourself, number 1, yes, I'm in that category. Number 2, suddenly something happens to me. I get sick. I have an accident. Suddenly there's an online fraud and my bank account is being emptied. Yes, happens also to me. And I'm sure you can agree, 3 days ago, there was this heavy rain in Dubai and suddenly the airport got closed and all the flights got canceled. And I think all the people they in the planes or waiting in the airports, they were thinking, oh my God, why is that happening to me? Why I have to sit here, experience pain? My flight is not going, experience insecurity. And why do I have to suffer? Why me? Because it was energetically stored in your aura, in your energy field. And the third one, you're suffering from interaction with relatives or friends. And I'm sure you also can agree in your childhood, in your youth, later when you got married, family relations, even when you become a yogi with your other yogis, sometimes you suffer in the interaction with relatives or friends. So all three are there and they have an impact on you. And this is how the actions of the past are stored in our aura and affecting our wish, even if it's a good wish. And most of the scientists in the world have the good wish. Most of the politicians, let us all jointly stop climate change. Let us do something. But the collective karma of all of us does not allow us that to take place and actually to happen. It's quite interesting. It's a quite interesting thought process, because quite often in psychology, people ask, we want to do the right thing, but we're not able to do it. Why that is happening? And karma of the past is not allowing us for fast solutions. And Dadi Janki, she came up with a very beautiful solution for this settling of karma, how to settle the karma. She said, be a helper of God. Be in the remembrance of God. Connect yourself to the divine light. Go under the umbrella of protection of the divine. Be loving and compassionate. Be a healer of the world and be a guide to the light. And that's how you settle your karmic account. Quite interesting. Be a helper of God and be in the remembrance and the connection with God. And this is, by the way, the old meaning of yoga or yogi, that means connection with the divine for self-enlightenment. And when you connect to the divine, you chase literally the shadows out of your aura. But some people think that there is a quick fix, an instant aura cleansing. And when I looked up a bit some days ago in the internet, I came upon almost countless concept and ideas of quick fixes. Like I show you one quick fix here. This is a you see, this is a massive crystal. This is an aquamarine. It's quite costly. And there's a whole market there where people say, you take the right crystals around you, the right stones, and they will cleanse and protect your aura. Other people say, if you take some special smoke, some special herbs, and you make some rituals, they are cleansing your aura, and you will have instant remedy. However, my experience of 40 years tells me that it is a process. It is a journey you're embarking on, and it is a step-by-step approach. And we practice in meditation here in the Brahma Kumaris, the Raja Yoga meditation. And there has been a lot of scientific evidence also about meditation and how meditation actually changes you. But as I mentioned, it's not a quick fix. It takes a bit of time. And scientists have taken meditators and put them in the CT scan, and they made scan of their brain, and they also took recordings of their behavior patterns, like how much conflicts they had, how was their interaction with other people, and they interviewed them every year to get an idea how is their social competence and so on. And they found out something very, very interesting. So when you meditate regular, it increases your social competence. It means you love yourself and you love others. And then number 2, it deepens relaxation and improves your health. That is also quite clear. Yesterday, for example, I had a bit of headache and I could feel some sort of sneezing was coming. And I meditated then and I said, okay, I have today this talk here and I want to be fit. So I meditated and I meditated my headache away, and I meditated the sneezing away, and I meditated my sour throat away. And when I woke up this morning, I said, oops, it worked, because I was totally all right. Headache was gone, the sour throat was gone. And I consciously in the meditation focused on free myself from the headache and from these effects. So it deepens relaxation, improves health. It increases the brain cells and activity. Now, what we have to know is when we are 25 until the age of 14, our character is being formed and our habits are being formed. I like yellow because my father liked yellow. I like Mercedes-Benz because in my family we had Mercedes-Benz cars, and so on. Whatever you like and you do until you're 14, it becomes your habits, more or less. and it's extra effort later to change. And it was so far very difficult because in your brain, you create what is called neuronal networks. It's like highways, which are very easy for you to go in thought process or in your likings or in your habits. And this science was thinking a lot how to change these neuronal pathways or how to change these highways which you have created, because quite often they are also connected to schizophrenia or trigger points or mental sicknesses, diseases. And interestingly, when you meditate regular, it increases the number of brain cells and activity. And this is something normally which does not happen, because from the age of 24 onwards, normally your brain starts shrinking. Sadly, that's why you forget things when you get a bit older. And when you meditate regular, your brain cells are growing again and the activity is changing. And you change your neuronal pathways. It's called the plasticity of your brain is increasing again, which is actually by age the opposite. When you become older, the plasticity of your brain is decreasing. You meditate, it is increasing. Very, very interesting point. And then you can change habits and awareness. And that's what we have to do. We have to change our habits and we have to change our awareness. So meditation helps you to deal with this programming, with the aura, with the energy which is stored in your system and which lets you think in a certain way, and you're able to change that and cleanse also your aura and the karma of the past. This is very, very interesting. And if we look a little bit into meditation, it is actually a practice that helps us and to understand more about our own karma and also the karma of the past. And through meditation, we can cultivate this mindfulness and this awareness, which helps us to recognize the effects of our actions and allows us to make more conscious choices. And that's very, very important, because in order to deal with climate change, we have to take new choices. We have to take other choices. We have to go sometimes the pathway, which is not so comfortable, consume a bit less, don't go for Mercedes-Benz, maybe buy a small car or an electric car. We have to change our choices. And meditation helps us to change these choices. And in Raja Yoga meditation, we connect specifically to the Supreme Being and to the Supreme Light. And Raja Yoga means connection with the divine, with the Supreme, for self-enlightenment. And if you look in this picture on the right side, you can see that there is the yogi sitting on top of the world, and he connects to the divine light, to the Supreme Being, to God. And the light comes from God in form of energy, love, compassion, help, power, inspiration. God has all powers. He's the ocean of all powers. And that light comes into us and slowly, slowly chases away the darkness in our aura. And slowly, slowly, our aura starts shining and the dark spots are being removed. And slowly the aura, the energy in our angelic body starts circulating again, which is a sign of a healthy, happy person. So that's how meditation actually helps us to change our aura, our energy field, and thus slowly remove the negative karma of the past, and by that create positive karma for the future. It's a step-by-step approach, and you will not have immediately 100% in one meditation, but if you sit and do this meditation and connect to the divine light, to the divine being, you will experience definitely how this light, this love, this energy comes, and you will better afterwards, and you are more relaxed. And step by step, you remove the old trigger points, the dark spots, and the karma of the past. And if we do all that and send good vibration to other people, then collectively we start removing the karma of the past. And then we can tackle also climate change. And then we can act actually accordingly to what we understand. It's a very interesting concept and idea. And one of interesting concepts and idea is when you meditate, you actually connect to everything, because everything is connected to everything. And you become a master also of your senses, which helps you a lot to deal with overconsumption or buying things which you actually don't need. You become a master. and you only do that what you need to do and what is good for you. It's very interesting, and that's what we have to do. Planet doesn't have the resources for 8 billion people to become crazy and buy 10 times more than actually what they need for their life. And very, very important concept in spirituality is that everything is connected to everything. My feelings, my emotions, my thoughts, they are radiating in my aura, and my aura radiates out in the universe, radiates out in the quantum field, radiates out, touches the aura of other people. My aura radiates out, touches the aura of plants, touches the aura of flowers, touches the aura of matter itself. And if you look in matter itself, you see that there's a very beautiful shape here. For example, it's the spiral. And you see that there's a blueprint in the whole universe and the creation of the universe, a very beautiful blueprint. And this blueprint is all the time there. And we are all connected to this blueprint, which is the creation of the universe itself. And we can see that nowadays on our planet, our world has come out of harmony, out of shape. And the big, big job which is there for all of us is that we understand the power to heal ourselves and to heal the world. And when we understand that our thoughts and our emotions do create reality, that our aura is radiating all the time outwards. And if we go in quantum physics, we know that everything is energy. The smaller you go in atoms, in molecules, and then in atoms, and then in protons, and smaller, smaller, at the end, matter dissolves and energy is left. And subtle energy is left. And that subtle energy in matter and our subtle energy from our aura, they intermingle and they interfere, they influence each other. And you see here, this is the this very beautiful creational fingerprint, you know. So we have actually the power also to create new and to really influence the physical reality around ourselves. But extremely important is that we heal ourselves first. And that means heal our aura, transform our negative karma of the past through connection with the divine light, and through allowing that light to penetrate into our own aura and slowly get rid of our own negativities and heal ourselves and then heal the world. So this is a very powerful concept in spirituality. And then our job is basically to imagine our perfect world of beauty, of love, of whatever you like, whatever goodness is there. And the central, at the middle is love, because love is the most important emotion. I love myself. I love my friends. I love the animals. I love nature. I love the world. I love the universe. I love everything. And if I do so, I create beautiful vibration which spreads in my aura, spreads in the outer aura, spreads in the quantum field, spreads to other souls, to other beings, spreads to matter, spreads to the trees, the elements, spreads to other human beings, inspires everybody to go on the pathway of love. And that's how we all join hands. And that's how we all create a world of peace, harmony, and beauty. And that, quite interestingly, in India is called Sat Yuga. As per the Indian tradition, we're in a big cycle of time, and we are at the edge, at the dawn, at the beginning of a new age. This Kali Yuga, this Iron Age, this age which is karmically totally under the pressure of negative karma, will transform in a beautiful new world where karma is very light, very bright, and very shiny, where there is no negative karma because there are no negative emotions and no negative feelings. And this beautiful world is called paradise. And in India, they call it Sat Yuga, the age of truth. And the Greek, they called it the golden age. And the Muslims call it the garden of Allah. And this is the time we're heading right now to. And the central theme is that we heal ourselves through the power of meditation. And in order to inspire everybody, we have a little webpage called Yogis for Future, where you can have a look, 150 meditations for the self, for peace, for nature, for my friends, for the universe, and so on. And 6 to 8 minutes long. You practice every day, and you can already feel that there's a beautiful effect. Yeah, thank you very much for listening to all these ideas and concepts which I've shared to you. And I hope the idea about karma, what is karma, how karma is connected to climate change, how we store the karma in our aura has become a little bit more clear, and some inspiration has been shared with you. This is the most important. And you understand that meditation is a powerful method to connect to the divine light, to sort of cleanse your aura and slowly remove the aura of the karma of the past, but then also inspire others and help others, so it becomes a collective process. And then when we heal ourselves on an individual level, heal ourselves on a community level, on a country level, on a global level, then we will be able also to enter into this creational process and bring a new golden age, a new golden era, a time of happiness, of beauty, of bliss, of perfection to all of us. And this is the time where negative karma does not exist, where climate change does not exist, and we are living in a world of beauty and happiness. So here you see our web pages where you can have a look, echo.brahmakumaris.org. You will find a lot of ideas and concept about environment, the general Brahma Kumaris webpage, Yogis for Future, and our solar webpage. Yeah, and I'm coming to the end of this talk, this presentation. And maybe now we go back and you may have some questions.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Golo. I fondly call Brother Golo.
Don't call me Mr. Golo.
Yeah, calling you Brother Golo is more of a fondly way. Anyway, we really appreciate it so much. And it's absolutely fascinating, especially the idea of the aura that we carry and how much impact it actually carries throughout our life to the next life, if we believe so. And if we came from another life to here today, and how we are collectively responsible for all that is happening right now. But my question would be, again, how can we collectively, like you said, we have done so much that we are here, but there is also hope in your talk. Hope in a way that we can always bring some level of transformation, like the yogic farming. There was an evidence what happens to the vegetable. Let's say if we were to do something, can we see some evidence in the climate change?
Yeah, of course. Yogic farming, what we did is on a small scale. There have been hundreds of experiments around the world in Harvard University, Oxford University, Eton University, about the input of our mindset, our intention into physical systems. So they had experiments with old people. Just to give you an idea of one experiment, Ellen Lange, she's a famous professor in Harvard, and she is the author of book Mindfulness and so on. And she has done an experiment with young people. She gave them a crossword puzzle with 25 and 20. So she had 50 students. 25 students had a positive crossword puzzle, like words like love, compassion, successful, rich, beautiful, blah, 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 and so on. And 25 had a negative crossword puzzle, like bad, diarrhea, hair loss, accident, sickness, and so on and so on. And they had to work 2 hours on this crossword puzzle. And after that, she took all the students and said, okay, one by one, you go in the next building on the 3rd floor, and there's a room, and you wait there. But she didn't tell them that she has a camera in the staircase, and that she was stopping the time. They needed to go from there to there. And all the students who had a positive crossword puzzle, they walked very fast, very happy, and they went up the stairs and no problem, went up the steps very easy. And all the students with the negative crossword puzzle, they took double the time and they walked the stairs up like old people. So just 2 hours thinking positive and thinking negative has already a massive effect on your physical system, on your own body. So imagine when you start meditating and you send your vibrations to the world. And if we understand that everything is connected to everything, at the end of the day, everything what we see around us is energy. Everything is energy. Matter, as we perceive it with our eyes and senses, is basically an illusion. The moment you go into the really microscopic world of atoms, molecules, protons, and even smaller, you see everything becomes energy. And matter dissolves. It's just energy which moves. And we are also basically intention. Our thoughts is also energy. It's directed energy. And these energies, they correlate with each other. They talk to each other. That's how I influence physical system. That's how I can influence my body, but I can also influence plants. But this goes much, much further. If I go towards the stage of enlightenment, I literally can walk over water. You know, I can literally, I'm not saying that I can walk over water, but I can imagine that such stories are true, that these are people who have been enlightened. So you even can defy the laws of physics and you become a creator in the true sense. And this world is also a conscious creation. And then if our mind is awakening and reaches the stage of our full potential, I think then everything is possible and climate change will be a very, very small issue.
What a great hope. And yeah, what a great beginning, isn't it? We all can do that, to beginning from today, to learn to change our energy, I suppose. That's your recommendation. I believe there is another question from the floor. You mentioned that climate change started 2000 to 2500 years ago. Why has climate change escalated in the last 100 to 150 years if it begins so long ago?
Well, you see, our climate or the environment has a lot of inertia. It means it's a huge system, you know, and quite often the atmosphere can absorb quite a lot of CO2 until a certain threshold is being reached, until it becomes effective. Similar, the oceans, they can absorb a certain amount of CO2 until they flip. Suddenly they flip and they become, the acidity raises, you know? And so a system always has a certain amount until it is reached a tipping point. And our tipping point was approximately 100 years ago, when temperatures started to go up measurably. You know, we also don't have 100% data, temperature data of, let's say, 150, 200 years ago. We know from the tree rings, you know, what was going on. In those days, cutting down of trees had an impact in Rome, in Italy, on the climate, on the regional climate. But what we have now with the climate change, the whole system, the global system is saturated now. So now it's a global effect. You know, it's on a much larger scale. It's no more regional, it is global. So in old days, that had a regional effect, and other areas which could absorb and compensate for that. Now the whole world is being affected because CO2 is being produced on such an amount. You know, number of cars has increased since Second World War. Transportation, the emissions have gone up dramatically. If you see the curve, if you see the trend curve, CO2 has gone up little over the last 2000 years. And then 1850, when we started with the Industrial Revolution, suddenly things started to go up, you know, suddenly. And then the temperature also went up because CO2 in the atmosphere and the temperature are linked, you know. So the increase of carbon CO2 share of the atmosphere was very minor in the beginning. Our impact was not that big, you know. We were not that many people, and whatever we did was regional, you know. We were not enough people to mess up the system 500 years ago so much, you know. But it started. It was the foundation.
like it's a threshold, isn't it?
Yeah.
We have reached the threshold. So in the same way, can we reach a very powerful positive threshold that the climate should start reversing and becoming better?
Yes,
So
of course.
that
You see,
possible.
all over the world, you see people now, all over the world, you see people now waking up. Global consciousness is on the rise. People are asking questions, what is going on? I'm not happy with all these mobile phones and cars and gadgets and consumerism. I'm not happy with the number of conflicts. I'm not happy with this. I'm not happy with that. So people are asking questions, what is going on? Why I'm not happy? And the awareness is opening up. The questions are opening up, and people are opening up for spiritual solutions. And that's also the same thing. We have to be enough people who meditate, and our level of meditation has to reach a certain strength and threshold so that we sort of can initiate a visible change. At the moment, I would say the yogis are still a bit incognito. The spiritual people in the world are still a bit incognito, but never mind. The ball is rolling and things are happening already. And it's only a question of momentum that we can see also visible improvement. At the moment, the forces of destruction are visible and they're quite apparent. It's all connected to the karma, to the negative aura, to the shadows in our aura. Once we start meditating, we're clearing that aura. We inspire other people. Enough people are doing it. You know, it is said that only 2% in a population have to wake up to initiate a revolution. 2%. It's not much. Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm very hopeful. I'm very hopeful. And once you start meditating, it gives you inner peace, inner happiness. It builds up your strength and resilience. And you become so peaceful through the meditation experience that this worries and this anxiety about that, what is going on in the world, it just fades away, you know, and you become very relaxed, very satisfied because you are moving under the umbrella of protection of the divine light. And the light of the Supreme Being is healing your own aura. And that is such a beautiful feeling, such a beautiful experience that anxiety goes, worries goes, negativity goes, and you're satisfied and you go with the flow and you go with the divine master plan of the Supreme Being, you know, because it is his job to initiate the next cycle, the next beautiful world of perfection, of love, and of compassion, you know. So you become a helper and you go along, you know, and everything will be all right, you know, no worries.
Yeah, that's absolutely convincing from what you are talking about. And but then we cannot leave it to the hands of the yogis alone. We are all responsible for it. So perhaps today we are very, very grateful for enlightening us into the aspect of this fundamental spiritual responsibility all of us have um, for the restoration of our planet and to the renewal of what is coming. So perhaps with a very grateful heart from all of us, maybe you could guide us to begin with what we could do for the world through the meditation. Maybe you can just lead us and guide us into a meditation before we close this session.
Yes,
Yeah.
why not? No problem.
Thank you
All
so
right. Let's all relax and lay back a little bit and relax the body and relax the mind. I am a being of light, and I'm a soul sitting in the forehead. That's where I am. And my first instrument is my aura, my energy field. It is around me. And all my experiences of the past, all my memories of the past, they're stored in this aura in form of light and shadow. And my third layer of existence is this body, this instrument, which is basically a product of the energy being emitted by the aura. So I'm aware of my body, I'm aware of my aura, and I'm aware who I am. I am a soul a point of energy, pure light, sparkling in my forehead. I'm concentrating there, and I am connecting to the divine light, to the Supreme Being, to God Himself, the ocean of love, the ocean of peace, and the ocean of compassion. And I allow God's light and God's love to enter into my system, to enter into me, and to enlighten my aura. God's light is coming and slowly chasing away, transforming the shadows within me. And I let go my worries. I let go my anxiety. I let go my fear. I let go my anger. I let go my impurities. I let go all these negative emotions. God's light is shining inside. Everything becomes bright. I am light. I'm shining light. I'm radiating this light towards all the others, my friends, my relatives, to everybody, to the animals, to nature, the forests, the ocean, the earth, the water, the air. I shine the light. May you be healed. May a next beautiful new age be initiated. O golden age, Satyuga, paradise, please come. I am ready. I am light. I am ready for the beautiful future. Let me be an instrument. Let me be an helper. And in front of my eyes, I can see how the world starts shining. The world becomes light. The world becomes peace. And the world becomes beautiful and pure. Climate change is a small issue. Seeing that we create a new whole age where the initiators of a new time, the time of love, compassion, and brotherhood. I'm very fulfilled. It makes me happy to be an instrument. It makes me happy to free myself of the burden of the past. It makes me happy to become my true self, a shiny being of light, of love, peace, and happiness. Everything will be all right. No problem at all. I take these feelings with me and remember them, and slowly I come back into this realm, and I understand through regular connection with the divine light, through regular meditation, I'm able to heal myself, and I'm able to heal the world. Thank you very much, and Om Shanti.
Thank you once again, Brother Golo, for joining us in the last 3 sessions. We are very, very grateful, and thank you for your sharing your wisdom, your knowledge, and your expertise with us. We are very grateful, and I really hope all of us have taken something really valuable from this talk on all these 3 sessions that he shared, and we will all start doing something today from our consciousness, from our words, as well as our actions, so that we can all once again restore this world we call home for now. And so thank you once again to all the participants, and please reach out to all the links given to everyone for any other resources that you require in terms of this topic, and look forward for our notification from Meditation Cafe for our next program. So with that, we are very grateful, and thank you, and have a great weekend. Bye, everyone.